Hey, Linda, congratulations on the ebook. And tell us, do CEOs negotiate differently than the rest of us?
You know, they do. I've been working with a lot of entrepreneurial CEOs, so they take a little more chances than we do. And there's a lot of things, you know, that I didn't do that I've started doing that have really helped my negotiations efforts.
Wow. So give us a few tips.
Okay. Well, one of the things is to kind of get into the CEO mind frame. And if you think about a CEO, they have all these things coming at them, all of these decisions all the time, people trying to sell them all the time, employees saying, you know, I have problems with this person or that person. So if you kind of think of somebody going through that process, you know, just as a survival skill, what they've had to do is really think before they act. So what I've seen CEOs do is they make a lot of decisions. They question, and then they make a decision. And so, for instance, have you ever talked to a CEO and you think, well, I've already explained this 3 or 4 times? Lorri, Larry, have you ever had that experience?
Yeah, well, generally it's explained to me very simply. They say, get out.
Right.
It's very short conversation with my CEOs.
Again, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times I'll hear people say, well, I've given them the report 5 times. You know, we've talked about this for the last 3 board meetings. What's the problem? Well, the thing is, they're still in their decision-making modes. They're asking questions. So what is this? Why are we doing it? What do we need to do? And then once they make a decision, then they'll invest their time, their energy, their resources into doing something. Now, a lot of us, we get all excited about something. Oh, wow, this could be this possibility or this could be that possibility. And we get very excited before really it may not be the right decision.
So we may not do the research ahead of time is what you're saying. We may make a decision first without asking all the questions. Well, that's a really good point.
Make it more into the emotion. Now then, here's the other thing. After they get into the investment and the actions, here's one other thing that CEOs do that would help all of us. When they find out they've made a mistake, and they make a mistake all the time, they're making mistakes. But when they find out they make a mistake, what I've heard them say repeatedly is, yeah, we're going to just have to adjust that, or we're going to have to realign that, or we're going to have to take a different approach. There's none of this, I can't believe I did that. That was so stupid. That's the biggest. There's none of that.
So no beating yourself up if you make a mistake.
Absolutely, because they don't have time. You know, just by the nature of what they have to do, they have to make their decisions. They know that some of them are going to be wrong. They plan for that, and off they go. I even had one guy say, yeah, I said, well, that's $1 million. You know, that was $1 million error. And he said, yeah, we're just going to have to readjust. We're going to have to restructure what we're doing.
Unfortunately, a lot of the people with whom I've had an experience won't admit their mistakes, you know, and that's certainly a detriment to having somebody in command who you know, doesn't want to admit mistakes and is more likely to blame somebody else for that experience, which can be a real downer.
That would not be stepping up.
Yeah.
But, you know, what I'm saying on this is they admit they made the mistake, but they just move on.
Yeah.
And there's no... it's all future focused, Larry, because they've got so many people looking at them to be driving, you know, and being positive.
Well, they've got the payroll to get out, so they just can't sit and worry about things they've done wrong.
Right. You've got it. You've got it. Or, yeah, we made a wrong decision. These are the 3 things we're going to do to correct it. It keeps everybody moving forward.
You talked about the excitement of negotiating, but you know there's also a certain intimidating factor. You know, some people are really afraid to negotiate, afraid they'll make a mistake, afraid they'll do something wrong. So, you know, what advice do you have for people who have to negotiate maybe a raise or a new position? They're in a position where they've got to, you know, speak for themselves or maybe for a group of people, but they're a little hesitant to do that.
One of the best things you can do is figure out what all your options are before you go in. And, Larry, a lot of us will do it in our head. But if you'll make a list of these are, you know, everything in the world I could think of that would happen, and then circle your top 3 or 4 or 5, these are things I must have. That's one of the things to get prepared. Another thing to get prepared is what is my BATNA, what's my best alternative to this negotiated agreement, or what's my plan B? And you really want to have a plan B and a C and a D, you know, every time you go in, because you want to compare what you're hearing to the plan B. And you want to say, all right, does this really match? You know, is this going to beat what else I could do? Here's the twist on that. Make sure you know their plan B, their BATNA. If this deal doesn't work out, if they don't keep you as an employee, if they don't promote you, who else is in line, you know, or what other deal is out there, or know what their options are too, so that you know how dedicated they are to this agreement you guys are trying to work out.
Yeah, and as you say in lesson 3, don't just go in with an idea of what you want, your goals, but consider the other party. Find out what it wants, what he or she wants, so that you can adjust your goals. At least you understand the point from which they're arguing, and it might give you a chance to counterpoint.
Well, and what these decision makers do is they don't just think party. You and I having an agreement. They think of who else is it going to involve. What other shareholders, stakeholders are involved in this deal? Because the more that you can get built in, the more people that are buying into a deal, the more they will support it.